What up, world? You already know what time it is. Your boy Matt Mizzle, the host with the most limited to brag no boast. All we ever did was give a toast to the real folks who done paved the way in a real way. Who was players to play? Parlay this great game that we got for y'all today. I told y'all, we back at it, man. Come back with another episode. This is episode 2 of The Reckoning. And I see this is a lot of bullshit, you know? Because everybody's trying to blame everything on Diddy. Because he got the money.
QVD has a conversation with various writers with Imma. Imma says there had been a payment from Congress to on from sale was moving forward. So waiting to see what kind of progress Las Vegas would make with QVD's cooperation. Nothing really happens. Ultimately, dies from cancer. Shot and killed in 1998.
So Alana Anderson got killed. Keefe D locked up. Von Zip died of cancer. Where is this alleged $1 million that Puffy paid to kill Pac? You know, it's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of, like I said, they stretch the truth and make it seem like, yo, what they're saying makes sense, but it don't make no goddamn sense. You know, Diddy's a peculiar cat. Yeah, he did have dealings on the West Coast. He was dealing with a rival faction. But do I think that he said, yo, go out there and kill Pac because he got beef like that? No, I don't think so. And Pac went to jail because he got caught up with some chick in a hotel room, and it said that he sodomized her. So you gotta watch out for what type of girls you're dealing with. And then they talk about this song that the puppy said when he dropped $1 million on your head and all that. Now, he could just be trolling because people are already accusing him of doing that to Pac. So that's where I think he's guilty of being feeding into the bullshit and acting like he was a part of it. You know what I'm saying? To increase his street credibility, you know? If a motherfucker ditch your man's on wax and he's going in on him.
West Coast beef. Sean took him to Los Angeles to report what he faced offers on Biggie's life death, which was a type of thing.
They said Biggie's album Life After Death was entitled like that. And why would a Biggie record a song say he's going back to Cali? feel like to go after Diddy after all this is asinine. First, Puffy said that Biggie talked him into doing this apology tour type thing.
I'm calling Diddy. What's going on? He said, no. He just called me and told me, I want you to stay here in LA. I don't want to stay. I want to go. But Sean was adamant. Cancel the flight. Diggie's not going to the UK. He's not going to put it gangs up. This was his MO. Ego, power, tripping, all of it because Sean was a tour on Lnmt. I really need. I think somebody's trying to make it a parallel. Shit, he's power.
So the member of the Mansfield Crips, right? Salute, salute, salute. They were with Puffy that night that Biggie got killed. Now Puffy was saying to Biggie, "Yo, you gotta stay in LA, right? We got a song to do and anything like that." I mean, if you just ordered a hit, $1 million hit, are you gonna go back in LA and start partying with the people and act like that shit's all good? You gotta be a megalomaniac. I don't know, man. He's around though. I've been looking for him. I'm like, yo, where you at? But you know, he'll do his show when he's ready. You know what I'm saying? He did a show a couple days ago. But yeah, man. This here Biggie, the way Biggie got shot was kind of weird. But I feel like it was a retaliation for Tupac. Because everybody was beefing over the Pac and anything like that. And the fact that they didn't get Puffy is kind of suspicious. But Puffy was right in the vehicle behind Biggie. So maybe they probably thought that Biggie was with Puffy in the car, you know what I'm saying? But it's funny how they killed Tupac and then they killed Biggie. And then Tupac was in the car with Suge, they didn't kill Suge. Yeah. You're right, though. So these situations are more crazy. But I want to know why you would want Biggie dead if he's your number one top selling artist. Even though Biggie wanted to leave or whatever the case may be, you got other artists, you're making mad money, you're going to do all that for ego? It just doesn't add up. You had $100 million company. Sugar and Diddy both involve insurance back. That could be true. That could be true. So they had insurance on both their artists' heads? Because if that's the case, they probably got a whole lot of money. When the West Coast back then, the shit was like the Wild Wild West. So you're not gonna go on the enemy's turf and party and bullshit and not get at least checked or something like that.
So I said, but the biggest film of the New York has ever seen. Starting to get together, he starts to see the price. So we want to do the biggest film. Biggie's gonna have to pay for this film. He's gonna have to charge to Biggie.
Well, Biggie's catalog was worth a lot, so they're saying that he made. See, that's the thing about it, you know. They're acting like Biggie's funeral was like Puffy didn't want to be there and he wasn't remorseful and nothing like that. But he was there. He was remorseful. Like who could be as diabolical to throw a big ass funeral, cry on your mother's shoulders and everything like that? Be the one to orchestrate the whole hit. Nah, you gotta be a real consummate piece of shit to do that. So I think Puffy was really hurt by Biggie's death. And to say that he killed Biggie, for a lot of people to say that, probably left a sour taste in his mouth. Because he was on the cover of Rolling Stone. So the I'll Be Missing You song and anything like that, it made Puffy look crazy, you know, but I don't know, man. I don't see like you putting out a hit and then you go into the place that you put out a hit at, and then you acting like you're totally oblivious to the shit. You would want to keep it under wraps as much as possible. So I don't know. I'm not too convinced that Pac and Biggie's rivalry created atmosphere where Puffy would kill both of them. Diddy and Suge was once best friends. He was playing Diddy and Suge was once best friends. So we're gonna have to see. Suge Knight's documentary when it comes out. You know, if 50 Cent is gonna make a documentary on Diddy, you're gonna have to make a documentary on Suge Knight. If that's the case. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make Puffy look like a demon and all that. if Suge's involved in this shit, and then 50 gonna have to make a documentary about him. Oh man.
Allegations of sexual misconduct, all these encounters, free calls. They abusing Cassie, but they encourage Cassie.
But I feel like a lot of these people that got involved in this situation right? We're looking for fame. We're looking to get money. It's just looking to be in the lifestyle. They weren't looking for morality. They weren't looking to be their own artists. Because once you see the bullshit, you back out right away. You don't continue to be around that. If that's the case. So I feel like 20 years later, for them to come back around and start accusing him of being this deviant shows that they're involved in it at a certain time and place, you know? And that right there could cause a lot of resentment. You know, not having money to being involved in Bad Boy and everything like that. And to me, the rest that's always with him, I don't think the rest is gonna be involved in no stupid shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's his herb plug. Maybe that's the thing, you know? But I'm watching it as we engage. I'm watching it right now.
In a very young relationship, she would come to me and ask the money he's supposed to be giving me for our son. Well, this time, Sean is developing another wife with Kim Moore. That's the Kim? Sean? No. Next time it's like Kim. Makes me mad. That's it. Just kind of
There was a boy, a very strange enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, over land and sea.
So this is episode 3, the official girl. I'm gonna speak on that, but the two murders, right? Now, rational thinking people, y'all put a some type of hit or whatever the case may be. Are y'all gonna be all up in the public eye, just doing whatever the hell you want to do? If you put out a hit on 2 of the biggest rappers at that time, and they both died in the same area, which is the West Coast, y'all think that makes sense? Now, I'm being honest, like, you didn't have no previous gangster stories where you killed someone or something like that. or he's beating people up or anything like that. He was a player, you know what I'm saying? A fly nigga from Harlem, you know? You know how to get money, you know how to handle his business. Why would anybody think that this nigga has the capability of going to the West Coast and getting two of the biggest niggas killed and then just dancing about it for 20 years, right? Like he didn't do that. Nah, that ain't gonna go down like that. They're gonna wanna hide, you know what I'm saying, certain things. Uh, suppress certain things. They're gonna want to stop certain people from talking on certain things. They got a whole investigation on the West Coast about how Tupac died. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing with what you call it? No doubt, no doubt. They got a whole investigation with Greg Caden and the Tupac murder and this and that and the other. And the Rampart scandal. You remember the Rampart scandal? I hope y'all remember that. Any rational thinking individual will understand that. Oh, when it comes to all this West Coast shit, you gonna believe that two of the biggest murders that happened on the West Coast is involved with a music producer on the East Coast? Nah, I don't think that makes sense. I don't think that makes sense at all. What they're trying to do is they're trying to slander him so they could take away his wealth. It's kind of lame to me. A lot of, you know, it makes no sense. Like now the lawyers coming out, Mark Agnifilo, saying that Diddy turned on him and anything like that, but he was acting incompetent from the jump. So I don't get it. I don't get it. What's this whole Diddy hate right now? Oh, I get it. Diddy won $2 billion from a racial discrimination case against Deleon, right? They don't want to pay that out. Now look at when you turn around and you see today that Byron Allen just won a $10 billion settlement from McDonald's. If you start seeing some stuff coming out about Byron Allen, you gonna know the situation. What's up with that? Because Byron Allen always been going against the grain, you know, suing for racial discrimination and the whole nine. That's what you got to do, man. You know, they're trying to box you out and keep you out of the loop, you know, where the real money's at, because they don't want to see you have generational wealth for you and your family, you know. So that right there is the reason why I think a lot of this shit is conjured up and you know what I'm saying? Pretty much showing that The power that be do not want to see people get ahead in life, you know? The powers that be don't want to see the people on their level. So they're gonna do everything they got in their power to keep you from getting there, you know? When Dr. Dre became a billionaire, what did they do? Talk about how he used to beat his wife and anything like that. That was a lot of bullshit. So let me be honest. I don't think people are out to help Diddy at all, man. But they're saying, yo, he messed over so many people, but that doesn't mean he's what you call it, guilty of murder, you know. And for the fact that Diddy, they said Diddy sent flowers to 50 and all that, that could be all bullshit too. 50 could have probably sent flowers to himself and started being like, yo, trying to create some fake beef, you know, because he's scoring over that girl. Of all the people you interviewed for this documentary, why didn't you interview your baby mom? How she felt betrayed and everything like that, because that was not the case. How is your baby mama going to Diddy? And Diddy's this killer, rapist, doing all this crazy shit. And then your baby mama turned around and said it was you. You're the reason for all this shit. So it's like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. You know? But the Rampart scandal shows you that LAPD was mad corrupt back then. So for sure, they had shit going down to where it's like they could pin a murder or to frame shit on whoever just so they can get paid, you know? Or they could distort things. So when it's talking about corrupt policing, Rafael Perez and anything like that, and when it came to Suge Knight and Death Row, you gotta put it all into perspective. You gotta be like, yo, that shit really could be all tied in. You know what I mean? So if all this shit was going down and 50 was in and Puffy was involved, do y'all not think that he would try to keep that shit under wraps as much as possible? You gotta be a real mastermind to kill two people in the span of 7 months and then dance about it all the way to now. So there's a lot that goes in it. And there's a lot to be uncovered. But I just wanted to show y'all a little bit of the Rampart scandal. And how everything intertwines, you know? It's deep. Exactly. He beat the Rico. The first man to beat the Rico in the Southern District of New York. Got 10 of the best lawyers from across the country. He said, let's pick 12, man. Y'all ain't going to send me up the river for what? What they wanted to give him? 40 years? Plea deal? And he got 5? Are they not wasting taxpayer money? Now, let's be honest. Are they not wasting taxpayer money? But let's look at this video with me real quick, man. Y'all got some time with me? I know it's kind of late, but y'all got some time to chill with a player, man, so we can chop this shit up in a real way. Let me know, man. We rebuild TV, man. You got some time with a player real quick? I'm gonna show you this shit right. Fair use, fair use. Salute to everybody out there. Respect it when y'all come through. Give a like. And share, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this truth out to the public, man, because I don't like it, man. If we gonna keep it thorough, we gonna keep it thorough. We ain't out here snitching on each other. You know what I'm saying? If that shit is part of the streets, keep it in the streets. Other than that, it's just hyperbole, and they're trying to crucify a black man, and I ain't with it. I ain't with it, man. But if he has something to do with it, then it's gonna come out. So what's done in the dark is gonna come to the light. You know what I'm saying? Like episode 2 said, what goes down must come up. Or what goes up must come down. So let's listen. Fair use, fair use.
Russell Poole wrote a review of Murder Rap on January the 26th, 2013, and this is what he said. Greg Kading has no credibility on this subject matter. He became a task force member on the Biggie case 10 years after the fact. Kading left the LAPD in disgrace for his false testimony on a federal murder and racketeering case, United States versus George Toros Ramos, CR 06-656 ASVW. Guilty verdicts were overturned in part due to Kading's testimony. He said LAPD cleared him of those charges, but that is not entirely true. Kading also had some help in writing this book from disgraced LA Times reporter Chuck Phillips. Kading forgets there were actual eyewitnesses to the Biggie killing. He spends a lot of time talking about things he knows nothing about. This is a desperate attempt for Kading to salvage his reputation. Suge Knight is a suspect, but not for the reasons Kading talks about. In closing, Kading never attempted to interview me regarding Biggie's investigation. He makes a lot of false statements about me and my part in the investigation, and that's written by retired LAPD homicide detective Russell Poole. There were hundreds of eyewitnesses in both of these shootings, and those eyewitnesses mostly were chased off by police. They didn't want them to fill out witness cards, which is standard practice. They usually hold witnesses, but in the cases of these murders, they wanted to chase these witnesses off. And we start to dig into this a little bit to see why this would be. Why do they want to chase witnesses off in these cases? And this is kind of standard operating procedure for death row events. Whenever an incident occurs, the witnesses seem to get chased off. And I want to put things into perspective today. The city of Los Angeles operates with a $9 billion budget every year. They employ 47,000 people. And when you think about a $9 billion budget, if there was a judgment for Christopher Wallace in the amount of $1 billion plus $3 billion in punitive damages, that's a $4 billion number. And we know Kevin Gaines was on special assignment in Las Vegas the night that Tupac was shot, all the way until 2 days after Tupac dies. So we know that LAPD could be held liable for the murder of Tupac Shakur, and then that becomes another $4 billion deal for the city of Los Angeles. So when you have a $9 billion budget and you have a $8 billion problem, that's enough to bankrupt any organization, including the city of Los Angeles. And so you have this cover-up that starts almost immediately. And so today, we're going to dig into the cover-up behind Death Row Records' involvement with LAPD officers and their involvement in what is commonly known as the Rampart scandal. Now, the Rampart scandal paid out over $100 million in awards to people that were affected by corrupt police officers. Now, just the two murders of Biggie and Tupac would have been $8 billion. But if the full depth of what these cops had done was fully known, I mean, think about it. Kelly Jamerson's family has a claim against the city of Los Angeles. And there's countless others. Mark Anthony Bell has a claim. There were two police officers that were present at the Death Row Records party. And so you just look at all of the innocent people that these guys put away, and the claims would be staggering. And this is something that would bankrupt the city of Los Angeles. And so that's why you can afford to have a cover-up. You can afford to have a book and movies and television series that get made to cover up the Rampart scandal. And that's what murder rap is. It's part of the cover-up. It's an LAPD police officer who gets paraded around to talk about the narrative. And that's what this cover-up is all about. It's about shielding the LAPD and the city of Los Angeles from having to pay out huge settlements in these cases. But I contend now that it's 20 years ago, and it's time for the city of Los Angeles to come clean about this, for the LAPD to come clean about this, and to learn what we can learn from the lessons of how these corrupt cops infiltrated the LAPD and the other police organizations, including the Compton PD, and what we can learn from it and how we can prevent this from ever happening again. When Russell Poole uncovered evidence that David Mack, Kevin Gaines, and Rafael Perez were connected, and they were connected to Death Row Records, he was ordered by his superiors to leave it alone. Deputy Chief Parks, who was the supervisor of internal affairs, ordered Russell Poole to submit his report to the district attorney's office the way it was, not to investigate any further. Russell Poole started to follow up on leads of the connection between Mack, Perez, Gaines, and Death Row Records. he brought it to his supervisors, and he was told, "We're not going to get involved in that. Mac has already gone down for bank robbery. Let's not get involved in more controversy." Russell uncovered that Kevin Gaines had a relationship with Suge Knight's ex-wife, and that evidence was surfacing that several LAPD officers, including Mac, Gaines, and Perez, were living with financial means way beyond their money that they were getting from the LAPD, and also their gang affiliation was surfacing. So when Russell attempted to investigate Kevin Gaines further, LAPD officers began interfering with the investigation, and they were actually out interviewing and intimidating witnesses before he could get to them. And he was prevented from writing up his reports. He was ordered to leave it alone. He was told by his superiors, "Gaines is dead. We don't need to know anything more." In Russell Poole's investigation report involving the Biggie Smalls murder, he turned it in. 3 of the pages of text were redlined, and they were ordered to be deleted by his superiors. So Russell also began to be hazed by his fellow LAPD officers inside of robbery homicide. They left a picture on his desk that had a picture of a sewer pipe with excrement at the bottom and a arrow pointing to it and a caption that read, "You are here." And he began to be intimidated and to be ostracized by the people that are inside of robbery homicide because he was investigating all of these crimes, and it kept leading back to LAPD cops. Russell had crossed that thin blue line, and he was being hazed as a result of this. So Russell Poole was also assigned to investigate the theft of evidence out of the evidence lockers by Rafael Perez. Perez had been caught stealing cocaine out of the evidence lockers, and Russell was brought in to investigate this. Russell served a search warrant on Rafael Perez's girlfriend's home, and he found pictures of Perez wearing gang colors and flashing gang signs, and he had an affiliation with the Bloods. Also discovered was a box of police reports, and basically what they were doing is using boilerplate similar language for all of the police reports that they were turning in. So Russell applied to his supervisors to investigate 6 more cases, and his request was denied, and the police said, "Leave it alone, leave it alone." So these were people that were put in prison, innocent people that were put in prison by Rafael Perez, David Mack, and Kevin Gaines. Russell Poole also complained that there was a pattern and a practice of the LAPD Rampart cops in targeting gang members without probable cause. They were assaulted, and they were retaliating against any of the gang members that complained. And so Russell went to his supervisors once again and said, "Hey, this is something that needs to be looked into." And again, he was ordered, "Leave it alone." Basically a battle between Deputy Chief Bernard Parks and Russell Poole. And Bernard Parks is the deputy supervising internal affairs at the time. And he's constantly telling Russell to leave it alone. And he's instructing Russell, only get general statements from witnesses. Don't get anything detailed. and only use what's called a compelled statement. Compelled statements are statements made by police officers during an internal affairs investigation, and it's protected from disclosure under the law. So an investigator could receive an incriminating compelled statement regarding police abuse of power or civil rights and not legally be required to disclose it to anyone, including the Los Angeles District Attorney. So LAPD Internal Affairs only elicit enough compelled statements to get the officers fired, and that doesn't tip off anybody that there's possible criminal activity or civil rights abuses. And that means innocent men and women are sitting in prison today based on what these Rampart scandal cops did. So in the fall of 1998, Russell Poole had a meeting with Deputy Chief Parks and Hernandez and other top-ranking officials that were inside of LAPD. And he told them that his investigation was not complete, and in order to make a solid case for the district attorney, he needed more time and resources to gather additional information. And as he was talking about this, Parks stopped him and said, absolutely not. Limit your investigation and don't add anything else. So Russell complained to Parks and said that it's more than just one case. It goes a lot deeper. You got a group of vigilante cops at the Rampart Division. And Parks then asked for Russell to complete his report in 2 weeks. The report was prepared and it was submitted. It was a 40-page report, and it was given to Lieutenant Hernandez and to Deputy Chief Parks. And when they got it, they told him, we can't hand this in. The chief doesn't want this. And so Russell was asked then to turn in his report, the computer disk that it was on, all other copies of this. And Russell understood that this meant they were going to destroy his report. And later, Russell was then handed a report that was a 2-page report, and they asked Russell to sign his name on it. But Russell refused because he saw that report as obstruction of justice. So in October of 1999, Russell Poole decided it was time to resign because of his problems with the department. And his exit paperwork indicated that he was subject to rehire. But they had clearly created a very hostile work environment for Russell Poole. And he felt that he needed to leave the department rather than participate in the cover-up, the obstruction of justice that was going on at the highest levels of the LAPD. What I'd like to do is go through the offices that have bearing on this case. And let's look at the city offices first. First, we have the city attorney. And the city attorney is a very important position. And we have James Hahn, who is the city attorney when the whole Rampart scandal actually happens. Then after Jim Hahn is termed out, we have Rocky Delgadillo who comes in. And Rocky Delgadillo is somebody who was at O'Melveny and Myers, and he was a deputy mayor of economic development under Richard Reardon. So he comes in 2001, and he's reelected city attorney in 2005. So through the whole Wallace civil trial, we had Rocky Delgadillo as the city attorney. Let's look at who was district attorney at the time the Rampart scandal went down. Well, that would be Gil Garcetti. Gil Garcetti was the district attorney at the time the whole Rampart scandal went down. Now, who is the mayor today? The mayor today is Eric Garcetti. And so Eric Garcetti probably knows the truth about what happened in the Rampart scandal. Let's look at police chief. Okay, we have the Gaines-Liga incident. And at the time this was happening, Willie Williams was the police chief and he gets pushed out. There's an interim police chief that comes in. And the only person that can be selected as police chief is Bernard Parks. And Bernard Parks was in charge of internal affairs where Kevin Gaines worked. And Rafael Perez and David Mack were hand-picked recruits by police chief Bernard Parks. Now, when the consent decree comes down and the federal government has to basically take over the police department, they have to bring in an outsider. So who do they bring in? They bring in somebody from New York. They bring in Bill Bratton, and Bill Bratton's there. Now, at the time, Bill Bratton comes in, who is sent over to rehabilitate the Rampart Police Department. Well, that's Charlie Beck. And then Charlie Beck becomes the police chief next. And who is involved and has to testify at the Wallace civil trial? That would be Michael Moore. And who is the police chief currently? Currently, the police chief is Michael Moore. And so you see, when this is an $8 billion problem for the city of Los Angeles, they definitely have taken a lot of care in selecting people that are willing to go the distance, know where the bones are buried, to make sure that this never bubbles up again. And we have those people in place right now. So when it comes to the politics of Los Angeles, over the last 2 decades, politicians have been elected that have ties to this Rampart scandal. Big money has backed their campaigns because they knew that if somebody was ever put into office that was going to open up this can of worms, it would be extremely costly for the city of Los Angeles. And those people that have the most to lose by the city of Los Angeles going bankrupt have funded campaigns to make sure that people with deep ties into the Rampart scandal always remain in control and can cap off this single one event. And this has guided politics in Los Angeles for the last 2 decades.
Now, let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think Puffy had that much power at that time where he could send out hits from the police, the Rampart scandal and shit like that? Let's keep it a bean. $8 billion in punitive damages potentially for both of those murders. $8 billion. Y'all really think Puffy got something to do with that? Let's put our thinking caps on now. From 1 million to 8 billion? The city of Los Angeles, the Rampart scandal and all that would not hook up with a music exec from New York to pull off these two murders. If it would require a bill like that. You know what I'm saying? I have to say, it would make sense that killing Tupac because Tupac was on death row, and they were making a lot of money on off of Tupac's brand. So that would make more money for death row. But that your first artist that sold 7 million records, and y'all don't know shit. What struck me as odd though is when Snoop and told his crew to not go to Las Vegas that night. Now, that's odd to me, you know, because I'm thinking, why would he say that, you know, if he didn't know something was going down? So I don't think it's a Puffy problem more than it's an LA problem because I don't know Puffy to be cool with Snoop like that or anything like that. So different factions, different situations, a lot to be uncovered. So this is my wrap up from episode 2, man. And there'll be more to uncover, more to unpack, you know. But I'm just breaking this documentary down for now, you know. And y'all know it's some bullshit. 50's out here slandering. And they ain't really supposed to go down like that. But we're going to meet up on the next episode of the Mac Mizzle Show. Catch me tomorrow. Same Mac time, same Mac channel. We're going to break it down real quick, real slick for y'all. And before y'all go out there and do something stupid, ask yourself, what will Mac do? Because all I do is sit back, relax, kick backs, smoke packs. Oh, count stacks. You dig? I'm out. Peace.